Hey friends, so I've got Tiffany Watson with me here today.
Hey guys.
She's generously come over and we've actually borrowed a place for today, haven't we, to do this cooking. First thing I wanted to ask you today is just what made you go vegan?
Well, I guess it was kind of a journey. I didn't go from being a full-on meat eater to one day a vegan. It was, I became a vegetarian from quite a young age. I don't remember really, I only have one memory of eating meat, which was at school when they wouldn't let me leave the table until I finished my meat. And I remember stroking the meat with my fork, which is like bizarre because I was at such a young age anyway. And I had already then was like connecting the two and realising that this animal had feelings because I was stroking it because I felt so bad that I had to eat it. And my school wouldn't let me leave the table until I finished it, and that made me so upset. Then after that my mum was like, no, she's not going to be eating meat. And luckily I didn't have to do that again. I was vegetarian from a young age because I think mainly my family were, my sister, my mum were, and it was kind of, there was no meat really ever in the house, and I was such an animal lover. We lived on a farm, we had all these pets, and I didn't agree with it. I didn't think it was right. I was always quite a caring kid, and I just realised that I didn't want to be eating animals. But yeah, so that was I was vegetarian for the whole time. There was a vegetarian table at school where there was about 8 of us.
Table?
Yeah, I had a vegetarian table. Okay. And they put all the vegetarians on one table. And how funny that out of the whole school that there was about 10 of us.
Yeah.
That's how small an number of vegetarians there were, because there was about 10 of us on a table. And yeah, they divided us onto this table because then they just didn't have to worry about putting the meat on the wrong table or something.
Gosh, that's so strange.
I know.
To have to isolate children to the point where you put them on a table where it's just the vegetarians.
Yeah.
I can't believe that.
I know, it's so weird, isn't it?
I think that would be like a lawsuit now.
Probably.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like the
they'd be
psychological
like absolutely
damage.
outraged.
Yeah.
And then as I got older, it became definitely like absolutely no meat constantly, and people would be really surprised, you're a vegetarian, oh my God. And then it wasn't until about 2 years ago, so I would have been 22, that my sister said to me, oh, I'm going to a PETA talk, do you want to come to it? And I was like, yeah, sure, didn't really think about it. Actually wore a leather jacket to it.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, like didn't think at all about any of it. Sat down, front row, and they started talking, and then they started showing the footage of what happened in the dairy industry, and I was just blown away. I was literally like, oh my God, I can't believe this happens, and I've never even thought about it, I've never even known, I've never even questioned where my eggs, milk, cheese comes from. And I was, from that minute, I was like shocked, and I was sitting there like, what? This is crazy. And after that, I just suddenly was like, no, I'm not going to eat dairy. I'm not going to eat meat. Well, not that I did eat meat. I'm not going to eat any dairy. I'm not going to eat any eggs. I'm not going to wear any leather. I threw out all my designer handbags. I was like, I don't want to, you know, do anything that's harming animals. Like the PETA owner, Ingrid, was like, you shouldn't use animals for entertainment, for wearing, for eating, for anything like that. And I was like, that's so true. Like, not that I ever went to places like SeaWorld or anything like that, but then I started thinking about more and more about all of these things, and I was like, animals are being harmed in so many different ways. It is life-changing, which I'm sure you can agree with.
100%, yeah.
Even my mum, who has gone vegan now as well, and she was just like, you know, we didn't have Instagram when we were your age, so we couldn't meet these amazing people from all walks of life that are doing the same thing as you, and it's such a sense of a community, and I think it's so nice meeting people with the same goals and the same values, and being able to talk about it so openly and not feel judged or like you're a crazy person. Smells good, I'm excited.
Oh yeah, I've not even spoken. This always happens. I get so into the person I'm interviewing, and I'm like,
and you don't
I want to hear everything
about
and never talk about the food, and at the end I'm like, oh yeah,
by the way, I
cooked a bean chilli, by the way,
Yeah, while we were talking, I made a gourmet 3-course meal.
Yeah, so yeah, sorry, today I'm going to make a vegan chilli.
Amazing, I love chilli.
With a tiny twist to it, it's going to be seasoned with, it's going to have peanut butter.
Oh, I love peanut butter.
Should all good vegans.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask you today was, obviously with the whole Made in Chelsea scene and things like that, you're very much in the public eye.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that come positively and negatively with that. When you have relationships, do you ever find like it affects the relationship being in the public eye?
As in a boyfriend? Or,
yeah, so just the thought of if someone, say, asked you on a date, would you instantly think to yourself, where are we going to go? I don't really want pictures of it everywhere.
I think it affects so many things. Obviously, my last boyfriend was not vegan.
Okay.
He ate a lot of meat, and he never told me not to do what I was going to do.
Yeah.
But he didn't understand it, and he didn't want to understand it, because I think, like a lot of people, you don't want to know the truth behind the whole
some
situation.
People prefer to stay ignorant to it and just carry on with their life the way they always have.
And it was difficult at times when we would go to like his family events, and none of his family were vegan, and they were kind of like, well, oh, and I felt awkward, like I was putting people in a difficult position, like, and I was like, it's fine, I'll just eat like the vegetables, you don't need to cook me something separate. And yeah, I think it's a massive thing. Even my mum said that she's been like online dating, and she said the minute she said she was vegan, so many men turned off. Because she was like, they probably think I'm not going to cook them a hearty meal of meat. And I was like, well, yeah. And it is crazy how still nowadays people are judgmental about it. But then also I think you meet a lot of guys who are so open to it, and that's also really inspiring. And yeah, I think dating someone's really tricky, because you're not going to ask them to go vegan just because you are, but then at the same time, if they don't, I'm kind of like, I don't know, I just feel like you would see, like when I have kids, I want to raise them vegan.
Yeah.
I don't want to have any meat. I would never cook meat for someone. I would never really want it in my house. So it is a huge thing. And yeah, I think it's definitely an aspect. I was vegetarian when I first started dating my ex-boyfriend, and by the end I was vegan, so it was a transition. And it does put a bit of pressure on the relationship, I'd say. I love spreading the vegan message, but I'm not like in your face, like shout it down your throat, because I don't feel like that approach works. So if people want to listen, they can listen, but if people don't want to hear it, then I'm not going to be like forcing it down your throat. Like if you watch people like James Aspey, they always stay so calm when there's such like...
It's very, very good for vegans.
Yeah.
It's a really difficult one, because...
It is difficult.
I think one of the problems with veganism is that it can seem like a little club.
Yeah.
And to people on the outside world, it can seem like a little club that like vegans want to stick together and not get anyone else involved. And I think that's a problem, because ultimately we want the world to go vegan. Yeah. So you need to get other people involved. And I think
that's why I would say I would date someone who's not vegan, because as long as they're understanding about it, then, you know, slowly over time, they may see what you're doing and see it's such a great thing. And I think a huge amount of people in the world are not vegan because they're worried about the judgment from other people. Yeah. Especially men, I think.
Right, it's a very macho thing, isn't it? It's already...
I think guys would get really embarrassed to be like, oh, I'm not eating meat, because it's a manly thing, and oh, you're not eating meat, it's a judgmental like situation. So I think so many people are worried about what other people are going to say and their opinions. And yeah, I think it shouldn't be like, oh, I'm not going to date someone because you're not vegan, because if they're willing to listen and understand and see how it is and see that it's not that difficult and it's really fun and it's an exciting community of people and you're changing the world, like, they may do the same. Ellen Fisher, I think her husband, she said when she first went vegan, he was like, absolutely, I'm not doing that. And then over time he would see her like cooking these amazing meals, and then now he is vegan, and it just shows you can't say no to someone just because they're not.
You wouldn't want to date someone who wasn't receptive anyway, would you? You wouldn't want to date someone who didn't have an open mind.
Exactly.
So if it's someone who's got an open mind.
Exactly, who's willing to listen to it and like accept it. And it's really hard actually sometimes with the show. Like, I remember a year ago, we had a Scottish themed party.
Oh right, so haggis.
Yeah, so they said, we're going to bring this haggis in and we're going to stab it and everyone needs to cheer. And I said, I'm not doing that, because why would I cheer about something being stabbed? And then we filmed, it's just like the awkward thing, like sometimes they'll forget and they're not doing it on purpose. Like whenever we film, they always make sure there's like a vegan option for me, but then it's like, oh, we're going to be filming like hunting, and I'm like, well, I don't want to be filming doing that.
Yeah.
Like, I even filmed, it came out a few weeks ago, an episode on, and I was horse riding, and I got a lot of negative comments about that.
Yeah, because people feel like using an animal for pleasure,
and I didn't properly think about that. And I was like, that's true. Like, we're not perfect people. Like, every day you learn something new, and you learn, and you don't think about certain things and the way they're affecting animals. Like, I saw the horses were treated amazingly. They seem to be having an amazing time out riding. But yeah, that's true. They could actually really not enjoy it, and maybe that's, you know, that isn't their purpose in life, to be there for us to ride as a hobby. But it's always an interesting thing, and I think being on TV, people do expect you to be perfect in some way and not make mistakes, and it's like, well, I'm going to make mistakes.
You're only human.
Yeah.
I think you have an obligation to not always show yourself as perfect, because if you think about like the youth today, especially like the younger generation, I think a lot of depression in youth is because of things like social media. So
I completely
people
agree.
See people living a life that's like perfect, and they think, why is my life not like that?
Yeah, I don't know if Instagram's a good thing or a bad thing. I think it's an amazing platform to meet people, and like the inspiration, like I'll always be seeing like amazing food that I want to cook, or like places I want to go. But I think it's such a perfection thing now, where all your photos have to be beautiful and amazing settings with amazing people, and that's not real life all the time. And I completely do think there is a pressure there to be perfect, and everyone that is watching and looking at your social media and even on the TV as like, could easily be like, well, my life is nothing like this, and feel depressed. But at the same time, I try and use it as a really positive platform, and I get such lovely messages all the time from younger girls being like, I'm inspired to go vegan, like thank you. And that's like makes me really happy with those sort of things. You're always going to have negative comments,
always,
and I think that's just something we all have to, it's a shame, but I think it's something we all have to accept and just kind of ignore. It's not a reflection of you.
No. And that's how I keep myself sane.
Yeah. Do you get many negative comments?
Not really. I feel I take criticism really well. So I actually openly ask people to criticise the YouTube channel, pictures, anything like that, because I say, I want to get better. I always want it to be better. Yeah. So if someone says, love that interview, but when you talked about, I don't know, relationships, I found dead boring. I'm like, oh, okay, I might steer clear of that in future. Yeah. But then if someone else says they enjoyed it, that's great.
Yeah, that's really good.
But yeah, I mean, obviously you're very much in the public eye. So, I mean, do you get many trolls?
I do, yeah. But that's not really about veganism as such. It's more just about general, like, the way you are on the show, or what you said, or what you've done, or something like that. But
crazy.
I actually find them quite funny sometimes.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah. A lot of accounts now, it wasn't such a big thing a few years ago, but a lot of accounts now have like a segment almost every week where they'll go on YouTube and they'll read out some of the hate mail.
Yeah, sometimes it is really funny because it is so ridiculous, and you're like, oh my god, someone's taken the time to write that, and that is just
big paragraph.
Yeah, and you're like this has really got you down today, and like, okay, cool. If it makes you feel better for venting, then fine. Yeah,
you're like, what is going on in your life that you're this angry at me?
Exactly.
Do you know, have you ever seen Food by Maria on Instagram? You ever seen her account? Yeah. She is fantastic. I absolutely love her. I love her to bits. Like, I chat to her a bit online, things like that. She's fantastic. She's really interested to meet you and Lucy.
Oh, really?
She's going to come over maybe in February time.
Oh, amazing! Definitely.
So I was going to ask you about it. Actually. She gets people writing comments all the time, and we've spoken about it quite a lot online, and like I always say, definitely take the time to go onto their account and report the behaviour.
Oh yeah.
Because although, like, you know, Maria deals with it really well and it just rolls off her back, but like, if they're saying that to like maybe a young girl or a young guy who's going through puberty, doesn't know their body, and they're going on there and saying something about the way they look or whatever,
no, and then it's not okay.
The way they're thinking, it's just like, you could drive someone to suicide.
No, exactly.
If they're already having a low day, and then you go online and call them out or something.
Definitely, I always try and, like, especially the really bad ones, I do report, because I'm like, this is not a safe account to be even saying these things. Yeah. So that is definitely something that's important to do. It's crazy, and like kids at school as well must be getting, like, even from other people in their school or something like that. It's just, it's scary. I think we can use social media for like
so much good.
Yeah, right? So much good.
So much good. We wouldn't be talking now if it wasn't for social media.
Exactly.
So recently, it's kind of been announced that your family are going to be setting up a restaurant. Yeah. Are you excited?
Yes, very excited. I mean, it's quite early stages right now.
Okay.
And it's something that's going to be happening next year. But it is really exciting. It's going to be like a family venture of me, my sister and my dad.
Okay.
And it was originally like Lucy's idea. She was like, I just really want to set up a vegan restaurant. Like, this is just something, like in the area we live in, there's not very many places. And
give people options.
Yeah,
really
exactly. And she was like, you should definitely like get on board with this. And I was like, okay. And then we thought, you know, our dad, he has pubs in London all over the place, and he's got this company and he's got the experience and like the sort of business side of the world. So we organised a meeting with him and we were like, this is our idea. If you think it's a bad idea, we won't do it. Okay,
because he's got that business experience. That's really good though, that you like open and listen to him like that.
And he was like, no, I think it's a great idea. And he was like, I think it will do really well. He was like, it's going to be like, you know, everything is turning that way. And people want those options.
It's nice that he notices that.
Yeah, exactly. Even him himself, who is a meat eater, he's like, you know, people are turning that way. He's like, I go to dinner parties now with friends, and like 4 or 5 out of like 8 are vegetarian or vegan. In the pubs, he's had more demand for vegan options, vegetarian options. So he was like, I think it's a great idea. I think, you know, it's a great platform for you guys to do it. And so yeah, that's how it started. And we're in the stages of finding the venue, and yeah, it's going to be hopefully next year opening, and it's going to be really exciting.
So good.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that opening party.
Yeah, definitely. I think it'll just be a great. Well, the place we live, like in Fulham, there isn't really any vegan vegan restaurants. Like, it's surprising, and there is sort of a demand for it, I feel now, and you want to have somewhere that people can go, but not just vegans, not just vegetarians, but anyone.
Get people immersed in that society.
Exactly. And we want to make it like show that people don't just eat, vegans don't just eat a salad, and have like amazing, healthy, hearty meals, like full plates, like home cooked, and yeah, just show everyone how yummy it can be.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You have to help us with some menu ideas.
100%. I've already said to Lucy, if you know you need any help, and just bounce some ideas and things like that, 100%.
Definitely.
Yeah, it sounds fantastic. I'm really excited for you guys, because when you're talking about it and when Lucy's talking about it, I can hear the excitement in your voice. It's really nice to like know that, you know, you're doing a family venture, so it's such a nice thing as well.
Yeah,
so it kind of brings you closer.
Well, let's hope. Hope it doesn't. No, we'll have the little rows, but
I don't think it's exactly going to be like Gordon Ramsay's kitchen hell or his nightmare stuff or anything like that. You and Lucy screaming the F word at each other. What's going on with this broccoli? But yeah, really exciting times. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how that pans out, and hopefully, like, you never know, do you? It could end up being like a chain kind of thing.
Exactly, that would be amazing.
So good. And obviously with the cookbook that's recently come out, that's really exciting.
Have you cooked anything from it?
Well, I cooked, when I did the video, that was from her cookbook.
Oh, what did you make?
I did the bolognese.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. I basically asked her like what was her favourite kind of one, and she said the bolognese is her personal favourite.
Yeah, it's such a great book.
I think she had no onions. I think she doesn't like onions.
She hates onions.
There we go, yeah, with no onions. So I did explain to people on the video, I was like, okay, this is from Lucy's cookbook, but minus the onions. She really doesn't like them, so.
Oh, the special ingredient.
Yeah, the special ingredient. So today I'm going to put a dollop of peanut butter on this, which I really enjoy with chilli. It's kind of a personal favourite. It just gives it, like, I used to put, and I still do sometimes, I put like dark chocolate in chilli.
Do you?
Yeah, it just gives it a nice sweetness, especially when you're using like sweet potato like I am today. Yeah. It kind of complements it really well. A little bit of sourness from the lime, that tartness, and then you got it. You bring it back together with that peanut butter and the sweet potato, and you're like,
that's cool. I never do things like that, like experiment with different. I need to be more inventive with these things. Thank you.
Have a little taste and see what you think. Yeah? That's good.
That's so good.
When you say it like that, Chase did that the other day. I was interviewing Chase and I was like, what do you think, mate? And he tasted it and he went, yeah, it's good. And then I realised the flavour hadn't kicked in at all yet. And then he went, and it
like
just makes me laugh so much.
God, that tastes really good.
Because there's so many different flavours in there.
And it was so quick for you to make it. You're gonna have to give me the recipe.
Yeah, I think like maybe half an hour is kind of good. A little bit of prep, peel the sweet potatoes, chop them, boil them, soften them up a little bit. Onion, garlic, red peppers, and then add the sweet potato in once that's all going.
Was the mince, what type was it?
It was Sainsbury's own soy mince.
Sainsbury's own soy mince.
So that's the same one that I used for the bolognese one.
Yeah.
Really, really nice.
I didn't even know they did that.
Yeah, it's called a vegetarian soy mince, but it is a vegan one.
Okay.
It's like some of the corn ones you have to be careful.
The corn one has egg in it.
Yeah, egg white. So yeah, really simple one. Then the chillies, tomatoes, garlic. Then put the corn mince in. I seasoned it with like paprika, onion, salt, garlic powder.
Yeah, because it's got so much flavour, which is really nice. And the chillies I love as well, because I love a bit of spice.
Oh, brilliant. That's nice. It's nice that you kind of enjoy that about the dish. But then, yeah, that peanut butter kind of just gives it a little bit of a different dimension with the lime. But that's brilliant. So,
thank you so much for cooking for me.
What's the next kind of step for Tiffany Watson? Obviously, the restaurant's coming. Is there any other little projects you're working on that you can talk about?
So I'm launching my own line of vegan leather diaries.
Wicked, okay.
Yeah, so I kind of had this thing where I was like, I really want to launch something, but I want to be original, and I don't want to launch something just because I want to, like just because I want a business. And then I love like having diaries, like writing down like to-do lists, blah blah blah, like. And I wanted a really nice one, like a Aspinall one or a Smithson one, but I was like, I don't use leather anymore. And I went online for so long trying to find like a vegan leather one, and I just literally couldn't find one. And I was like, well, that's not okay. Yeah. And then coincidentally at the same time, another brand got in touch with me and said, would you like to launch like a line of leather stationery? And I said, well, no, because I don't use leather, but what about vegan leather? And then we got talking, and then it got developed. So this was in April. So we've been working on that for quite a few months now, and it's finally all coming together, and we are launching on Friday, which is really exciting. Oh,
and huge respect to you.
Thank you.
When a company gets in touch, because companies got in touch with me before, and they say, do you want to promote a brand or whatever, and I'm always like, well, you kind of go, well, no, it's not an ethical brand, so I wouldn't do it, that isn't me. But then to say, what about this though? Like, look at the market, look how it's changing.
Definitely.
Look at, and then people, the cogs are turning, they go, oh, there's this little section we can get into. So, Tiffany Watson, so your Instagram is?
Is it Instagram is Tiffany C_Watson, and my diaries are called 365 London.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Obviously go over and give her a follow and look out for them diaries. I'm sure I'll be writing one pretty soon. Thank you very much for watching today. I will put the recipe up underneath this video. Any questions, any comments, things like that, like and subscribe, drop me a comment, and I'll see you beautiful people really soon. Be nice to each other.
Bye. Goodbye. Guys.